Hi everyone, it's Carolyn here with Cello Discovery, and I have a question for you today. What is it that makes a beginner sound like a beginner and a more advanced player sound like a more advanced player? There's one element that really defines the difference between the two, and it has to do with flexibility at the frog. If you watch players, if you go to YouTube and you watch professionals play and you watch young students play, you're going to see a big difference in the way the hand moves at the frog. So what you're going to see in a lot of younger players or newer players, and it's real hard to get a good fluid sound from one bow to the next. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is hold the bow with your left hand, frog at the right side of your body. What you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put your hand on top of the frog area just like you would normally rest your hand. And you're going to turn your palm outward like this. So you're leaning in towards the first finger. A lot of folks like to move their hands like this. So we're going to lean into the first finger, palm out, and you're going to think about your wrist pushing. The first thing is you're going to push with the wrist towards this direction like you're doing an up bow, but push, push, and then when you come back, the fingers are still going to be angled that direction, but you're going to collapse the wrist and pull. Push the wrist, collapse the wrist. And this is just a practice to keep your hand this direction, or shooing the dog away. It's that same kind of motion. It's not this, it's an angle like this. So again, it's lean in, pronate out this direction, palm is out, stays out, push the wrist towards the center of your body, collapse the wrist, and pull. Like you have a piece of string pulling you each direction. Don't turn your hand any this direction. Okay, so do this stop, pull and stop, push, stop. This is a very exaggerated motion, by the way. Now remember, this is a motion that only happens when you're at the frog. We don't do this out at the tip, it's just at the frog. So using just the lower third of the bow, go ahead and place the bow on the string, say the D string, and you're going to try this on the string now. Now this is not a pretty sound. Our goal is not to get a beautiful tone right now because it won't be beautiful. It's just to get the motion correct. So let's start at the third, and we're going to do a push first. So you're going to bend the wrist, palm out, push, stop the bow. You can assist with your left hand as well. Pull the wrist, pull the bow. I do find that it does help to keep your left hand on the stick a little bit too. Now once you've done that with a little bit of pause between the two, then you want to try to see if you can connect a little bit more without a pause. Now my thumb is actually moving a little bit as I do this. It's staying in that same spot the whole time, but it oscillates a little bit like this. Okay, so pull, push first, a pull, push, pull. The idea is that later on when you connect those nice big bows, a much more connected sound. Also, as you start to learn how to play faster literature and you need much shorter bow strokes, that's where your wrist comes in. So that's very wrist and fingers. So you have to learn how to get that wrist moving a little bit, not keeping it just so static right here. So that's the trick you can practice to get a much smoother sound and a much more flexibility at the frog.